Have you been avoiding bar chords like they're your musical nemesis?
Oh, baby.
Stick around because this lesson is the perfect on-ramp for your bar chord breakthrough. Hey everyone, I'm AJ Hansen of Level Up Your Guitar, and today we're diving into one of the smoothest, most soulful songs you can add to your repertoire, Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. We're going to break down the B minor bar chord, a very common first bar chord to learn. We're also going to learn the intro melody that practically plays itself, and also one of the most tasty guitar solos ever recorded. This is a perfect intermediate guitar lesson to expand your chord vocabulary and develop your lead playing. And quick housekeeping, the complete guitar tab and sheet music for this lesson is available in the description below. And if you want personalized guidance to accelerate your guitar journey, private lesson slots are available through the link as well. Now let's get into it. So first thing, we're going to go a bit out of order from the sheet music. We're going to skip the intro first. We're going to jump right into where the bar chords are. So that's primarily what this is about. And then when we finish the verse and the chorus, then we'll hit the intro and then finish with the solo. So taking a look at the beginning. So in the verse, we start with an A major chord. Now you might have played this already with all three fingers, but we're actually going to bar this. So this will actually be your first bar chord. So if you haven't done any, this is a really good starting point. So we'll take our index finger and place our fingertip on the D string, 2nd fret, and then just flatten this top knuckle out across the D string, G string, and B string. And then, hopefully, if your finger's angled just right, you'll be muting the high E string. So congratulations, you just played your first bar chord. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. All right, so seriously now, this song is in a 12/8 time signature, so it's got a very waltzy feel. So the first measure here, we're going to just play this chord all down strums 12 times. Now when you do that, it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're going to give it a strong, weak, weak pulse. So you can hear I'm accenting the first one, playing it a little stronger, and then 2 weak ones. And then doing that 4 times in a row. So that's what the first measure will sound like. So one of the reasons I picked this song is you've got a bar chord straight off the bat with your A major chord, even though it's not traditionally how we think of bar chords. Let's say it counts. And then you're going straight into this B minor chord, which is also the index finger in the 2nd fret. So you don't have to make some jump across the fretboard. At least you're already in the neighborhood. So when we take a look at that, we just finished our first measure of A major. So we'll dissect that. So if you saw my index finger, it's going from, again, this look where my top knuckle is flat and my index is kind of making this mountain peak and then wrapping back around my hand. Now we're going to go from here to where now it's a little bit more extended. So focus on getting the tip of your index finger on the A string 2nd fret. You don't want to overshoot it. Keep it low. And then if you've seen my other video, Like a Stone, on my channel, I go over the anatomy of going through a couple different bar chord shapes. So this song will be a little bit easier, but you want to keep that finger low and make sure that you're rotating your finger from 12 o'clock, or if I'm facing right at the camera, tilt it back to about 10 or 11 o'clock so you get more of the bone of your finger as opposed to having to push through all this padding. So we've got our finger at an angle, and then we're just adding the middle finger to the B string, ring finger on the D string 4th fret, and then pinky on the G string 4th fret. And if you can hear all 5 notes, you're good to go. Now, what I recommend, and if you're already looking at the sheet music, I'm keeping this first measure of B minor, the rhythm, simple, or at least during the verse. And then we'll get a little bit fancier in the chorus. So again, we're keeping that eighth note pulse in this 12/8 time. So that was measure 2. And then you'll do the same thing with measure 3. So backing up, let me show you starting from A through all the B minor chords. And now we'd already be into the fourth measure, where now we're going to add a little bit of rhythm and some hammer-on movement. So leaving that B minor chord in measure 3, you go back to the A chord where you're barring with your index finger. And the first beat is all just straight eighth notes there. Now when you get to beat 2, what you'll do is you're going to add your middle finger to the B string 3rd fret and your ring finger to the D string 4th fret. So this is just a D major chord, but it's in an inversion, second inversion. Open. Or you could view it as first inversion where we have this F sharp here, but that's getting a little too in the weeds for what we're doing. But it's just another version of our classic D major chord, but so if you normally went from A to D, it doesn't have the same ring as this is smooth voice leaning as opposed to going to a different chord progression. We want to go to the nearest by notes. So we've got A to D. So just get used to that. If you haven't done that, this is a very common chord progression to do. Barred here, and then add these 2 fingers, and you can do it in a lot of spots. There's tons of songs. But if you look at the sheet music, we're going to hammer on to these fingers. It just softens the quality a little bit. So that gets you a little bit into beat 2. So get that far. And now we've got our only up strum in this rhythm. Well, it's an up strum and then an immediate down. I think it sounds better if we resolve it back to the A major chord on beat 3. So I'll play from beats 1 to the beginning of beat 3. And once you got to beat 3, then we just ride out this A major chord for beats 3 and 4. So all of measure 4. One more time. And the entire verse section. So that's the entire verse, and then you would repeat that. So now we can go on to the chorus. Now, if you've gotten already comfortable with the 4th measure of the verse, we actually start the chorus the exact same way. So we've got our A major chord, we'll do our little hammer on to the D major, and then bring it off for beat 3. One more time. Now again, following the same format, the second and third measure are B minor again. But in here, during the chorus, usually choruses build up the most amount of volume. So usually your introductions of a song are quiet, verses are a little louder, maybe more instruments are coming in, and then the chorus, with the main idea of the song, is going to be your loudest part. So I changed the rhythm a bit here, and you can hear some of this on the record, where there's a little bit more upstrumming in there. And it seems like they do it a little different each time. So once you get the groove of it, you can see I put the upstrum in beats 2 and 4. It could be 1 and 3. I think this type of song, it gives you enough freedom where you can change it around a bit. So let me jump into that. So we've got beat 2 here, or measure 2, and I'll play the entire thing. And then repeat the same thing in measure 3. So let me break down measure 2. So the first beat, still just 3 eighth note strums. Then when you get into beat 2, we've got a down, down, up, down. And it's got a little swing to it. It's not just... Try not to play it stiff. You want that looseness. So beats 1 and 2 together. And then beats 3 and 4 are just a repeat of 1 and 2. So now I'll play all of measure 2 at a moderate tempo. One more time. So keep an eye out for when you finish the first 2 beats and you restart it going into the third beat. Oftentimes, beginners and like kind of lower level intermediates, what'll happen is they'll play the first one perfectly, and then it's kind of tough to like, okay, just do the same thing again. So as soon as you finish that, get right back into it. Measure 3 is the exact same as measure 2, and measure 4 is the exact same as measure 1. So I think it's safe to just take this from the beginning and demonstrate the whole thing. So there's all 4 measures together, and I'll play it one time with the repeat. And there's the entire chorus. So this should be a really good example or a good song to just get used to your bar chords, because you've got, our A major chord, which we are barring. So you could call it a cheater bar chord, if you will, but it is a way that we guitarists play an A major chord a lot. And it just, without too much movement, it goes right into that B minor chord. Again, we're in the same neighborhood of the 2nd fret, so it keeps it a little bit easier, but still doing like a realistic switch. And now that we got all the chordal stuff out of the way, now we'll wrap back around and start with the intro. As I said before, this intro kind of plays itself. I did watch Chris Stapleton play this I couldn't tell you which YouTube video I watched, but he was just using his middle finger the whole time. It's like, oh, interesting, because when I was playing this, I was doing it a little bit differently, maybe playing a little more complex with 2 fingers, but I saw how he played it. I was like, okay, well, let's just match that. If he's doing it, it's good enough for us. All right, so with the intro, we've got, at the beginning, 3 pickup notes. So if you haven't heard of pickup notes before, it's basically just the first incomplete measure of the song. We're playing the last 3 beats of this 12/8 time signature. So we're going 10, 11, 12. Or you could group it all as beat 4. So 4 and 1. You could count it that way. Whatever makes more sense to you. So we've got this 0, 2, 0 starting on the low E, middle finger on the low E 2nd fret, and then A string open. So that's beats 10, 11, and 12, 10, 11, 12, or 4 and however you want to count it is perfectly fine. So we finished the pickup measure. Now we've got this slide on the A string starting from the 2nd fret, and we're going to slide to the 4th fret on the A string. Now, looking carefully, I usually point this out, we've got what's called a grace note. So you can see it's a small number 2 in the tablature going to a big number 4. Or if you look at the standard notation, if you read sheet music or not, it's a small note with a little slash in it going to a normal size note. Now a grace note happens instantly, so what you don't want to hear is 2 evenly spaced notes, 2 evenly spaced notes. We want this quick, instantaneous slide. So that's how quickly a grace note happens. It's just but-up, but-up. So now you'll hold that for 3 beats, and now we'll take the middle finger from the 4th fret, and we're gonna go back to the 2nd fret and do the same grace note slide, but then slide back down to the 2nd fret. So it's instantaneous going up to 4, but then a little bit slower going down. And then on the last beat, we'll play the A string open. And then in the second full measure, we've got the same grace note slide from 2 to 4, and then back down to the 2nd fret. Let me play that from the very beginning so we get the context. So we got that. Na na na. Then we're gonna hold that, and then in the last 2 beats of the measure, you're gonna do 2 really quick grace note slides from 2 to 4, again on the A string. And then going into the next measure, then you have a slower slide. So this won't be a grace note, you can take your time with this one. So playing the 2 grace note slides and then the slower one. You'll hold that, and then the last beat, again, grace note slide up to 4, slow back down to 2, and then open A string. And then the final measure, then you just hit a whole note of the A string. So I'll play this all together in the intro. boom, there's the intro. Very fun. I like it. I thought it was really cool that he just plays it with his middle finger and does all the sliding. So, like I said, if he's doing it, we should do it too. All right, and now for the solo. So, if you haven't done a guitar solo, will this be tricky? Probably, but it is a very good one. He's not doing anything too crazy. There's a few bends, hammer-ons, there's double stop slides, so double stop meaning you're playing 2 notes at the same time, and then he's sliding, and some more grace note slides, a couple different bends, and yeah, that's most of it. So there's a few articulations with the hammer-ons, pull-offs, and slides, but you should be able to do this. So let's check this out. Let me demonstrate the whole solo first. Very sweaty in here.
Stop it. Get some help.
That's such a good solo. I love it. Let's break this down one measure at a time. So again, this actually is just like the beginning of the intro. But now we're playing it 2 octaves higher, I believe. So we're starting on the pickups with the index on the G string 9th fret, ring finger on 11, middle finger on the B string 10th fret. And then you'll move just a little bit to get this bend on the 12th fret of the B string. And make sure you get the phrasing of that bend. It's not a laser beam to the top. You waltz your way to it. So since this song has a waltzy feel, waltz your way up to the top of the bend. We got a few beats of silence. Hammer on the G string from 7 to 9. So it's a grace note slide. Now you'll leave your ring finger there on the G string 9th fret and then bring your pinky in to the E string 9th fret. And here, I forgot to mention this earlier, here's another trick that he's doing. He's using hybrid picking. So what I'm doing is I'm using the pick on the G string, and then I'm using my middle finger to pluck the high E string. So you've got that grace note hammer on, double stop again at the 9th fret, and then we're sliding down to the 7th fret. So let me demonstrate it here so you can see everything. So once you do that, you're going to hold that 7th position there. So pivot off the ring finger on the G string 7th fret, slide up to the 9th fret, and then bring that pinky back in for this double stop hybrid pick. And then we'll do that same double stop slide. Hold that for a bit, and at the end of the measure, now we've got the ring and pinky in the 7th fret. You'll play that 2 times, still hybrid picking. And then your index and middle are already floating over the 5th and 6th frets. So your index finger's already ready to go on the E string 5th fret, and your middle finger for the G string 6th fret. So let me play these first couple measures of the solo, and I'll go a little bit slowly. then now we're into the little bit notier half of the solo. So now we'll start with the index finger on the A string, 7th fret, and we're going to hover around this little box area. So index finger gets the 7s, ring finger gets the 9s. So the first phrase here, you'll have the index on the 7th fret, ring finger on 9 of the A string, and then you'll go to the D string 7th fret with your index. Ring finger goes back to the A string 9th fret, and then return back to the index finger on the D string 7th fret. Then going into the next measure, ring finger on the D string 9th fret, and we're going to grace note slide into the 11th fret. And as soon as you finish that, index finger on the 9th fret of the G string, and then ring finger on the G string 11th fret, 2 times. And then middle finger on the 10th fret of the B string. So let me start from the grace note slide at the beginning of the measure. Now we can bring our ring finger over to bend the 12th fret of the B string. Now this one just goes straight up quickly, and then back to neutral, and you'll play the 12th fret B string again. And then resolve it to the index finger on the 10th fret. And then in beat 4, ring finger, you can nudge that over to the 13th fret of the B string. You'll get a full step bend, then a 3/4 step bend, so not quite as far, and then resolve it to the 10th fret of the B string, and play that twice. So starting from the 12th fret bends, then in beat 4, now we're going to do a double stop plus a hammer on. So index finger goes on the G string 9th fret, and then middle finger on the B string 10th fret. And you're going to play those at the same time, and then instantly grace note hammer on with the ring finger to the G string 11th fret. So that's the first beat. And then you'll lift the ring finger and just play the index finger on the G string, and then bring that ring finger back to the 11th fret G string. Then we'll bring our ring finger up to the D string 11th fret, grace note slide down to the 9th fret. And that's instantly going to go into a pull off to the 7th fret. But it's very, very quick. And then follow that up with the ring finger on the A string 9th fret. Let me back that up to the previous measure. Now we go back to the A string 7th fret with the index finger, and then we're going to play the ring finger on the 9th fret, same string. And then go to the D string 7th fret. Let me back up. Now the next beat, ring finger on the D string 9th fret, and Now here you're going to hammer on with the pinky to the 10th fret. We're staying on the same D string the whole time. Pull off to the 9th fret, pull off to the 7th fret with the index. That's what it sounds like at full speed. Let me do it slowly. And then the last beat is the same as how this half of the solo started. So index finger on the 7th fret A string, ring finger on the 9th fret, index on the D string 7th fret, then back to the D string. Then the final measure, we start with a grace note hammer-on the A string 7th fret to the 9th fret. And then we go back to the 7th fret, and then back to the 9th fret again. So there's beat 1. Then beat 2 is on the D string 7, 9, 7. Starting from beat 1. Beat 3, now you'll still be on the D string 9th fret, and you're going to grace note slide to the 11th fret. Then follow that up with the G string 9th fret with the index, and then ring finger on 11 of the G string. Then middle finger on the B string 10th fret, and then finish with the ring finger on the G string 11th fret. So I'll play the last measure again. And let me demonstrate the entire solo one more time. And there's the whole solo. Like I said, is it the easiest first solo if you haven't done a solo? No. But you can take it in pieces. Since there are a lot of rests in this where there's just silence, that's a good way to just break it up. Like, okay, we'll just take one idea at a time. And I'll go a bit off plan here. That's one thing that I do quite a bit, how I practice and break things down. Like, for example, when I play something like Bach, so I play a lot of classical guitar, and when I play something that's very intense, or I feel is like at the peak of my abilities, I actually set a minimum amount that I'm going to practice. So usually, if it's very intense, I'll just learn one measure a day. Now, it seems kind of contradictory, and I tell my students this all the time, and when they actually do it, they're like, oh my gosh, that actually worked. I'm like, I told you. And it's something I just kind of stumbled on. No one told me this. And I just do one measure a day, super focused for, usually I max out around 20 minutes before my brain gets shot. Like, okay, now I need a break. But one measure a day. Now, if there's a lot of repetition, or if I just think it is simple, then I'll go up to about 4 measures. But that's about where I'll end, is I'll do 4 measures total on a really hard piece of music. And you will learn it much faster than just trying to blanket, carpet bomb everything, the entire song, every time you sit down. So breaking it up does help, and using that system of just like, do one measure a day. You don't have to overwhelm yourself. If you found it too easy, okay, do a second measure. But usually don't go past 4 measures if you're doing something super detailed and is really pushing your playing. So there you have it, your complete roadmap to mastering Tennessee Whiskey on guitar. We covered the barre chord technique for that B minor shape that you're going to use a lot. the efficient chord voicings of the A to the D chord and worked through the single note intro, and then broke down that soulful melodic guitar solo that'll really help your lead guitar vocabulary. And don't forget to grab the complete tab and sheet music in the description below. Having that reference will make your practice sessions way more efficient. And if you want to accelerate your progress with personalized feedback, I offer private guitar lessons that are available in the description. If this guitar lesson helped you out, smash the like button, subscribe for more lessons, and drop a comment below letting me know how well you're doing on this song. Keep playing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.
I don't remember.
I just lost my train of thought. Talking about pickup notes.